CBC medical specialist Dr. Carl Cabasel joins me now with more. We all, know the problems with smoking, drinking, stress, and the health effects of those. But what more does this study tell us, Carl?
Well, this is a very interesting approach, and of course it's an Ontario-based study. But what they wanted to do was quantify, in terms of the years that you're going to get to live, what is the impact of all of these sort of risky behaviors that we talk about. What they found is for all 5 of those, on average in Ontario, it can lessen your life expectancy by 7.5 years. When you then look at what we call the sort of quality of life adjusted life expectancy, that number rises to almost 10 years. So those are the years in which you will be able to sort of enjoy your life, participate in society, etc., and not be sick. Those years, they tend to have a sort of a bigger hit or absorb, sort of more of a detriment from all of these behaviors.
So if, for example, someone decides that they're going to give up one of those things, what do they gain? Can you quantify that?
Well, that's interesting, because if they sort of rank all the ones that, in order of their seriousness. So for the individual, smoking is actually the biggest impact on the individual. But if you look across the whole population, the most common one is probably physical inactivity. So that affects the most people. Anyway, if you attack the one that is the most sort of salient for you as an individual, if everybody did that, we could actually increase the life expectancy across Ontario by 3.7 years, which is pretty significant. So it's always hard to kind of calculate individual stats like this, because this is all just very theoretical. But what it's intended to do is to just show you the great impact of these behaviors on your life expectancy and the quality of your life.
And this is the first time, really, that we've been able to quantify something like that, because before, I suppose, as a doctor, you would tell people, your life will get better, your quality of life will get better, but there was no number you could attach to that. How do you think this will make a difference to people?
Well, you know what? I hope it will make people sit up and take notice. The headline kind of, the idea that 7.5 years are wasted because of bad behavior, if you will, is something that I hope will draw people's attention and make them want to make some changes. And as we said earlier, just making one change with the single most important risk factor for you that you're not doing right can really make a big difference for you.
Now, why did they only pick 5 risk factors? Because I'm sure there would be others, although those are big, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, drinking, junk food. What was the other one? Stress.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they decided to sort of tease out the 5 things that are, first of all, behavior-based. So as opposed to saying, people who are obese or people who have high blood pressure, this is their life expectancy.
Right, which makes us all sort of, if you're not part of that category, you kind of tune out.
Well, that's right. And it's almost too late to do, for some of them, it's too late to do anything, whereas we're looking really upstream, and we're looking at things that you can change today that will prevent you from developing some of these end-stage diseases. So that's one of the reasons. And the other thing is just simplicity. And, that's sort of a strength and a weakness of this study, because it kind of excludes a lot of the other sort of risk factors for premature death.
Right. If you just change one of those things, because somebody hearing 5 different things, thinking, okay, you want me to stop drinking and start eating healthy and get active, and you kind of think, oh, it's too much, so I'm not going to do any of it. But if you just tackle one thing, how does that affect your longevity and your quality of life?
Well, certainly, it's sort of a spectrum if you look at it that way. So, for example, if you're the kind of person who eats a lot of junk food, or you don't get your 5 servings of fruit and 5 servings of vegetables each day, just changing that by a little bit, maybe once a week, twice a week, you eat healthy. That can make a difference. It's, again, hard to quantify because this is a very theoretical model. But we know that sort of the worse you do in all 5 of these categories, the worse you do in terms of your health, and ultimately we can sort of assume that that's going to shorten your life expectancy.
The good news is you can make a change.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
CBC medical specialist Dr. Carl Cabasel. If you've ever been surprised